All right, we are live again. Just wanted to come on and answer some questions today. Many of you have been asking where I've been, and I'm going to answer your questions today. We are live on YouTube, Instagram, and on TikTok. I am going to pin my email address uh, in the chat. And if you have a question, you can ask me anything you want about the application interview hiring process. I'll be more than happy to give it to you. Thank you so much to so many people who are listening to the content and utilizing information to either get a job or advance their career or something like that. You know what I mean? I've gotten more testimonies than I can tell you. There's so many. So many people have reached out to me. So many people have, um, they are getting jobs, and that's good. They are following the instructions. They are uh, doing what I'm sharing, and they are getting jobs, and that's what it's all about. For those of you who want to know, my email address is coachdanielsmiley@gmail.com. If you have a resume and you want me to review your resume, I will be happy to do that for you for free. I don't charge to do that. If you need to create a resume, I'll be happy to do that for you as well. Send me an email. I'll tell you what that looks like so we can make sure that that your resume gets taken care of as well. But my email address, I'm sorry about that. My email address is coachdanielsmiley@gmail.com. Let me get this set up again. coachdanielsmiley@gmail.com. coachdanielsmiley@gmail.com. That's my email address. So hold on for just a second. All right. Let me get this straight. I'm going to get this straight before it's all said and done, even if I have to hold it in my hand, but I should be good to go. Anyway, I want to answer your questions live tonight. Give you guys the opportunity to ask questions and share information with you. So if you're on Instagram and you have a question, just leave it in the chat. If you are on TikTok, leave it in the chat. I'll be happy to answer your questions as well. And if you have issues with your resume, let's say, and how do you know if you have issues with your resume? Well, you're applying to jobs, but you're not getting any kind of responses back. Nobody's contacting you back. It usually means you have an issue with your resume, okay? And that means your resume is not appealing and attractive to hiring managers and recruiters, and so they're just not going to call you back. And I've said this before on a live, 2 out of every 100 resumes are an exact match for a position. So recruiters have to go through a lot of resumes in order to find people who are a fit. So let me start answering some of your questions. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer it for you. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section, and I will answer that question for you. So 415 G says, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Here's a question. You know, when a hiring manager asks that question, what are they really trying to learn about you? Right? What they want to know is, are you here just to have a job? Is that all you? And most people who have, you know, high turnover in organizations, they don't ask this question. But hiring managers who want to have employees who are going to be around for a while, they'll ask this question: where do you see yourself in 5 years? The reason why they're asking that question is because they want to make sure that you're the kind of person who will be with the organization for a while. Now, a lot of people answer this question in what I would consider to be a selfish way. Okay. But I want you to position your answer to be selfless and hiring manager serving. Okay. Because really that's what it's all about. So a hiring manager asks you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I would say answer that question something like this. Well, I see myself helping you and this team grow and to become more powerful in the marketplace. I see myself helping you and this team growing to become all you've envisioned. That's where I see myself. I see myself right here making things happen on your team. Hiring managers like that. Okay. That is a selfless response. Okay. And that's what they like. That's how I would say answer that question. Jordan says, what's a good question to ask a supervisor for a job if you're interested in? Now, I've done videos on this. I tell people to ask one question. Now, why is it you should only ask one question, or how is it you get to a point where you really only have one question to ask? There's a guide I have, what you should know before you go. It's a guide that tells you everything that you need to know before you go to an interview. So when you walk in that interview, right? When you walk into that interview, you don't have any questions about the company. You know everything about the company. You know everything about the position. You know how big they are, what they have going on, everything. You know the interview questions that they're going to ask, all of that. There's only one thing you don't know, really don't know. So if you get that guide, there will only be one thing you don't know, and that is, when would you like for me to start this job? So that's the only question I tell people to ask. Yes, Mr. Hiring Manager, Miss Hiring Manager, I do have one question. When would you like me to get started? It does a couple things. It shows your interest. In my guide, Don't Never Lose a Job Offer Again, the very last key point is ask for the job. That's the last key point. Ask for the job. Okay. Then most people don't. They go through the entire interview, and when the interview is over, they are in mystery land. They don't know what the next steps are. Okay. So the reason why I tell you ask that question, when would you like for me to start? Because a couple things is going to happen. One, if that manager is not interested, you will immediately know it. If they are interested, they will tell you when you can get started. If there are other applicants that they are looking at to compare you to, they will tell you that as well. Well, we have some other applicants that we really we've already scheduled and we want to interview them, and we'll make our decision after that. It sets you up to not have unrealistic expectations, okay? So the only question you should ask at the end of the interview is, when would you like for me to get started? I hope that helps you. If you have a question about the application, interview, or hiring process, leave it in the comment section. I said, when do I start? And I got the job. Everlasting Beautiful Soul says, I said, when do I start? And I got the job. Again, if you're the best candidate, hiring managers don't want to lose you. They want to try to get you going immediately. Okay. And so they're not going to tap dance around and try to, make it mysterious for you, because they understand that there's a possibility that they may lose you if they don't act quickly. And you think that there are a bunch of good candidates out there, but there are fewer good candidates than you know. Okay. So I wanted to make sure I shared that information with you. All right. Everlasting said, and I appreciate you saying that. You said you got the job and it works. Okay, good. Fola Beth said that's a good thing. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. If you have a question, leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to answer it for you. So I am Dara the Billionaire asks, what about asking salary? Okay. So I have a strategy that I share with everybody. If you look through my videos about how to make sure you maximize pay. Again, shameless plug. I got a guide, a store, the best way to negotiate pay. And a couple of the tips in that guide tell you this. Number one, it will tell you where to go, specifically where you can go and find out what the pay range is, whether it is listed or not. So let's say they list the pay range, but you use these tools that I have in this guide. You go right to the internet to these tools that I have in this guide. It will tell you if their pay range is below market, above market, or in line with market. Okay, it'll tell you, right? So you will know that before you go in. Okay, well, this is the range. But a lot of candidates leave money on the table. How do they leave money on the table? Because there's something I ask you to say every time you get an offer. Okay. Now, you may get the additional or you may not get the additional, but you should say it 100% of the times you get offered. Okay. So you use that tool, you figure out if the pay is in line with it. So even if it's not listed, even if they don't have pay listed, and companies should have their pay listed, you will know exactly what the pay range is, what your experience is compared to what the pay range is. So if the manager asks you, what is your desired salary? Okay, now this is a mistake that a lot of people make. Okay, they put down or answer this with some number they would like to make, and that's fine unless it is unrealistic. Here's a simple example. If a brain surgeon, a doctor who is a brain surgeon, may make, I don't know, $500,000 a year, applies for a job as a trash collector. They've made $500,000 a year in the past, and maybe they built a lifestyle that's supported by $500,000 a year, but they can't ask for $500,000 a year as a trash collector. Both jobs are very necessary. We need brain surgeons. We need people to pick up our trash, but they're two different positions. Okay. So if you go in and you are far too high, maybe you earn more money and incorrectly, it's going to disqualify you. So the reason why I say get the guide, the best way to negotiate pay and what you should know before you go, is because you will know exactly what the pay range is. And then you're going to say, you're going to add, once you know the pay range, you are always going to add 10%, because most companies are willing to go 10% higher than your salary. If it's a $90,000 salary, they will be okay with stretching to 99. And maybe they don't go to 99, maybe they'll go to 95, but you are not leaving money on the table. So you should always ask for pay plus 10%. What is your desired salary? If your desired salary is $50,000 a year, you should say, well, you know, my desired salary is $55,000 a year. Is that doable for this position? That's how you should answer it. My desired salary is $55,000 a year. Is that doable for this position? If you're the top candidate, companies are willing to do what they got to do to get to you. Okay. Thank you for the question. I hope it answered your question. All right. If you have a question, if you have any questions, leave it in the comment. Brian says, close the deal by saying, when can I start, is an awesome tip. That I'm telling you, most people never ask for the job. Okay. So now, why am I saying that? Because when we go back to the hiring manager after they've done their interviews and they're interested in interviewing these candidates, we have to go back to the candidate and say, is this something that you're interested in? That's typically what we would say. Well, if you use this tip, ask for the job. When would you like for me to start? That's how you ask for it. When would you like for me to get started? Then it will automatically be something that puts you in a good position. M Sport says, what is your email address to send my resume? It is coachdanielsmiley@gmail.com. 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 Okay. Let's see if I can leave. Let me see if I can put that in the can. Okay. So I'll make sure that the next time I put it in the chat on TikTok. Okay. So coachdanielsmiley@gmail.com. Send your resume to me. I will take a look at it and I will tell you if it is something that will attract the attention of hiring managers and recruiters. I'm just going to be honest with you, and I'll tell you what tweaks you need to make. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Okay. All right. So let me go and see what questions there are on TikTok. I have some questions on Instagram. I want to make sure I'm answering those questions as well. And then some on YouTube. All right. So, and for those of you who like, the audio version, I will be utilizing some of these lives to create a podcast. And you guys will be able to grab that soon. So again, I just want to share as much of this information as I can. All right. So please attach your email address. CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com. Coach Daniel Smiley. Somebody type that in the comments. CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com, and I will pin your comment. CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com. Somebody type that on TikTok. I want you to type that in the comment section, and then I am going to pin your comment on TikTok. Can you please do that for me real quick? So I am Deborah the Billionaire asks, can you ask what's your budget? Now I've covered this a lot on lives as well. Hiring managers don't know what the budget is. Okay, the budgeted amount for the position appears to be the pay range, but the pay range comes from guys like me. The talent acquisition manager in most organizations does salary surveys and brings that information back to the hiring manager, and that's how we build. That is how we build pay ranges. Okay, so they don't know what the budget is. Now, when you say, what is the, let me tell you, I've never said this before, but let me explain to you kind of what that sounds like. Okay. Let me see here. So Molo, do me a favor, please. If you can just type my email address, which is CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com. I'll pin your comment. Molokai. So type CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com. All right. So when a candidate asks, you guys don't understand this, but I want to tell you kind of what it looks like. The candidate asks, what's your budget? It makes you sound like you're greedy. Makes you sound like the only thing you're interested in is how much money you can get out of this company. I'm just telling you kind of what it sounds like. What's your budget for the position? Every position in the organization has some wiggle room in it. And hiring managers don't really have, most hiring managers don't really have a say-so in the max amount a position will pay. That includes sign-on bonuses, bonuses for KPI. A lot of times they don't have. So asking that question to a hiring manager, depending on who they are, if they're a director or a CEO or something like that, of course. But that stuff is generated by HR in most organizations, large and small. That's what I do. I give them the salary information. So you can ask what your budget is. I'm just telling you what it sounds like. And that's fine. You can also say, when they ask you what is your desired salary, you can say, I'm negotiable. Now, here's a question. What are you negotiating? Like, what are you negotiating? It makes more sense for a candidate to come to the table with a number that makes sense, because there's only really one reason why that hiring manager is asking you that question. It is a qualifying or disqualifying question. How much do you know about the value this position brings to an organization? Are you delusional or are you not? Right? Pay in an organization is tied to the value that a position brings to the organization. Value. Okay? Pay in an organization is tied to value. All right? And so it's important that you know that information. And I give you I give you the tools, the information about where to find that information, so you are not asking, what's your budget? That just tells the hiring manager you don't know what the pay range is for this position or the proper amount of pay is for this position. If you want to send me a copy of your resume, I have pinned my email address on Instagram and YouTube. On TikTok, I will look at your resume for free. Send it to CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com. 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 And I'll be happy to look at your resume, give you feedback. Okay. 415G says, last one from me. Tell me about a time you made a mistake and how you handled it. I like this question. And there's a cool way to answer it without getting yourself in too much trouble. Okay. And when I say too much trouble, without sounding negative or like you don't make mistakes or anything, this is how you answer it. Hiring manager asks you, tell me about a time when you made a mistake. How did you handle it? Like, what was the mistake and how did you handle it? You'll tell them the mistake. You know what? I made an error doing X, Y, Z. And man, it just didn't feel good. You know, that wasn't my intent, or whatever the error is, whatever the challenge is. And then that's step number one. You acknowledge the issue, the problem that you had, or the mistake you made. You acknowledge it. Step two is you say, man, and you know what? I have learned my lesson from that mistake. That's step two. Okay. Step one is you acknowledge. Step two is you are confirming that you learned the lesson. And then step three is, I will never, ever do that again, ever. So we'll go something like this. Thank you, hiring manager, for asking me that question. This is the mistake I've made. Man, it was challenging. And man, I'll tell you what, I've learned from that mistake. And here's something that I will tell you. I will never, ever make that mistake ever again. I just won't do it. And thank you for that question. And then you move on. And it's showing them that you are self-aware. Okay, showing them that you are not, that you are, there is some vulnerability, not perfection there. Again, and this is important because it's about, are you aware? Are you self-aware? Are you someone who doesn't acknowledge that you make mistakes? And it's just showing that you're really, really human. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer it. If you have a resume and you want me to review it, it's really simple. Send me an email. Maybe you are emailing me right now. I see the emails coming in. It's CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com. You can click the link in my profile. If you need some resources, they are there for you. Okay. Appreciate your support. All right. Let's see here. If you have a question, leave it in the comment. Can you make a post on that question? 187, which question are you referring to? I'll be happy to make it. I may have already done it. How much for that overlook? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I am sure I have answered that question before. So PW Southside says this. How do you answer the question if they're asked, what problem you think we have? So this is a response from when a hiring manager says, why should we hire you? Your response should be, because I understand your problem and I am uniquely skilled and qualified to solve your problem. I've said this before, every job solves a problem for an organization, and you should know what problem your position solves. Okay. If you get the guide, what you should know before you go, you will know what that problem is. But let's say you don't. Let's say you're late to the party and you don't know what the problem is. Okay, so you should know. Every job, think about your last job, right? What did you do in that last job to help the company succeed? So let's say you were an administrative assistant. Okay, that could be typing, data entry, that could be greeting people. It could be a lot of different, it could be supporting someone, an executive or a director or a VP. The problem that you solve is you're providing support for them so that they can be freed up to do other things. Okay, that's a problem you're solving. If you're a customer service rep, your job is to take care of customers, provide world-class customer service to customers. For what reason? So they can continue to come back to the company, spend their money, and the company can continue to grow. That's how it is. What if you're a salesperson? It's easy to answer these questions. What if you are an educator? The problem that I solve is providing education information for children so that they can continue to grow into thriving adults, right? That's the problem that you solve. Every job is a problem-solving position for an organization. If you get the guide, what you should know before you go, it'll show you exactly how to pinpoint the problem you solve. Now, why do I have all these guides? Why am I telling you guys to do this? Because these are the questions that I ask. These are the things, the things that I expect people to know when they come in and they interview with the company and they are interviewing with hiring managers and try to get a job. Most people don't know this. So 187 says, the interview question, how much for the overlook of the resume deal? Again, I don't understand what you mean. I apologize that I don't understand that. Tojo said, I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. Marilyn, the creator goddess, says, they stated 2 weeks to finalize selections in this government job. Should I still follow up after 2 weeks? Yes. I talk about the importance of following up. Okay. Again, the fastest way to get a job offer, right after you ask for the job, one of the things you have to do is you have to follow up. Following up is important. It is very, very, very important. Many organizations move at different speeds, but you really have to make sure that you understand that you got to follow up. Okay. Every recruiter is not as diligent as you need them to be. Every hiring manager is not as freed up in terms of their time as you need them to be. And the reason why you want to follow up, because you are showing them that you are serious about the job. You are expressing your interest. You want to get the job done. And let me tell you one other thing. If other candidates that are being considered are not following up and you are, you're probably going to, because you're doing that, you're going to show them that you're the one that deserves the position. Just how it is. I'm telling you. So follow up, follow up, follow up. And then once you follow up some more. Okay, now what's the follow-up process? For those of you who have been following me for any time, you know. If it's a government position, I know you said 2 weeks. I'll explain that in just a second. But if you had an interview on Monday, you wait. If you haven't heard anything in 3 days, you're going to send an email. Hey, thank you so much for interviewing me. I really enjoyed it. Learning about this company, learning about the position. Again, I have stated that I'm uniquely qualified for this job. I appreciate it. Can you give me an update? That's it. If you don't hear from them within 24 hours of that email, you're going to call them. Hey, I sent you an email yesterday. I know you're super busy. I just wanted to see kind of where we are in the process. If you don't hear back from them, let's say you leave a voicemail and they don't call you back, my recommendation is you get in your car, Uber, a taxi, a bus, have a friend take you up to the organization, dress professionally. Hey, just wanted to follow up. I wanted to talk to recruiter X or hiring manager X, and I'm just following up to see where we are with this position. If that's something you're really, really interested in. You need to take control of the process and be proactive. That's why I tell you to do that. It's very important. If it's a government position, it's 2 weeks. Yes, after 2 weeks, they told you 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, email. Then the 24 hours. Email. And after 24 hours, call. After 24 hours, go to that government organization, a government building, and say, hey, can you please let me know what's going on? Because I'm eager to get started. Ms. E. Murray 5 says, I'm working for a company for 10 years, putting in for a position I definitely qualify for. What are the steps to make me stand out? Okay. It's very, very difficult for me to answer that question the way that you position it, but I can answer it for you if you send me a message. Just send me an email, or you can message me on Instagram, and I'll be happy to answer that question for you. But how do you stand out? How do you stand out? I want you to, Miss Murray, let me give you this advice. I really want you to gather all the information that you can about that position and the unique problem it solves for the organization. And then I want you to position your experience to be the person who can execute a plan, whatever that plan is, to solve that problem for that organization. If it's an internal position, it's easier for a company to slide you over to that position. They don't have to reorient you. They don't have to figure out if you're going to fit or not. They don't have to figure any of those things out. It's easier to slide you over if you're an internal candidate than it is to find somebody that is external. So research and find out the unique problem that job solves for the organization. And then you are going to position yourself to be the person who is uniquely qualified to solve that unique problem within the organization. And you need to be able to articulate that, and they should give you that position. Keep me posted on that. I would love to know. 187, question about working as a team member to solve an issue. One question about working as a team member to solve an issue. Okay. I'll try to do a video on that. 187, I'm going to encourage you to send me a direct message. I want to make sure that I am positioning the video to answer the question exactly the way you want me to, or I understand it and I'll let you know. Marilyn, the creator Realtor Goddess says, before the 2 weeks, should I follow up? No. So you're not going to know anything. And I tell people this all the time. Government positions, they move very, very slow. All positions in government are based on a budget. That budget was, that 2024 budget was wrapped up in sometime in 2023. And if they go over that budget, they have to get approval to go over that budget. So the reason why they move so slow, because they have a very cumbersome, long, drawn out process. So wait 2 weeks, then start the follow-up process the way that I recommend. In the meantime, keep your irons in the fire, okay? Tojo, should we contact the hiring manager with a cover letter once you apply? I've said this before on many lives, cover letters are irrelevant. You're showing your interest in the position. And if you create your resume the way that the winning resume template, I was talking to somebody about this today in person, a professor at a college, and we were talking through, they were wanting me to come out and speak, and I was talking to him about the resume process. And he had the same question. I said, in the marketplace, cover letters have been irrelevant. Oh my goodness. 15 years? Like, they are not, they are just, it's very formal, but expressing your interest in the position through a cover letter, most hiring managers never read a cover letter. They just don't. And applicant tracking systems are not uniquely set up to have you parse a cover letter in it. So it's a waste of time. If you get the winning resume template that I created, your whole first page will show hiring managers your unique, pinpointed expertise. And it is like 10 times better than a cover letter. Okay. So that first page of your resume will blow people away, showing your expertise and data to back that expertise up. So no to cover letters. And you'll notice when you apply to jobs, 99% of companies do not ask you for a cover letter. They just want your resume uploaded. All right. 187 says, I'll send you a message in voice so it can be better understood. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You are working with me. All right. Thank you for 187. Thank you for encouraging Miss E. Murray with a good luck. I appreciate it. If you guys want to support on Instagram, you can buy badges. you can. That's a way to donate and give if this is helping to you. You can give gifts on Instagram as well. If you want to cash out me a gift because this is helping, you can do that by clicking my profile. I'll be happy to do that. But I do this because I want to see you guys win. I really, really do. Okay. Tojo says, thank you. I'll get the template. I appreciate that. And by the way, if you get the template, and so I'll review your resume, but if you get the template, once you have completed your resume with the template, you can send it back to me. That's free. Send it back to me and I will tell you, okay, it's perfect, or hey, make this tweak or make that tweak. Add this or add that. And then I have people who say, man, I can't come up with the words. There is a product in the store. I'll do your resume for you, right? It takes 2 to 3 business days, but I will create a resume that'll blow you away and anybody else that sees it. Okay, so that's a service we have as well. 187 raise their hand. Not sure what question you need to ask. So Christopher says, I keep getting to final interviews, but I haven't been chosen in 8 jobs. Okay, so listen to me very carefully. I will send you a direct message, Tojo. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So if you are getting interviews, but you are not getting job offers, you have an issue with the interview process. Okay, there's an issue there. Okay, and that issue is centered around a lack of likability. Okay, I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm not saying that you're not somebody who can get the job done. We're not saying any of that. But the purpose behind an in-person video interview is for a hiring manager to gauge your likability. Now, how do I define likability? This is how it looks. You ask yourself the question, if you were the hiring manager, and this is kind of what the hiring manager thinks, can I spend 8 hours in a room with this person I'm interviewing, and that room has no windows, just me and that person and maybe a couple other people? Like, will they drive me crazy, or will I absolutely love spending 8 hours a day with them? That's how likability is gauged, because they already know you can do the job. They are looking at your resume. They know you have the technical skill and technical aptitude. They will verify some of that in the interview. But they want to know if you're a likable person. Many years ago, I was very unlikable. And I don't mean I wasn't a nice person, but I knew my job and I had to tone that down. And I was a little bit like a bull in a china shop. Right? My thought was, man, I know what the problem is. I'm going to go in and tear things down and build back up so you ain't never got to worry about that again. So people didn't like being around me. They didn't. And so I lost job opportunities because of that. So I'm telling you this. It wasn't that I couldn't do the job. It's just that I wasn't a right fit for them from a team, culture, or personality perspective. And likability is a very, very, very real thing. And so it's important for you to understand that when you're interviewing with somebody, be likable. All right. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the hearts on TikTok. We're up to 1,100 likes or hearts. Let's try to get that to 2,000 in the next couple of minutes. Tap, tap, tap the screen. Same thing on Instagram. Tap the screen. Let's get those hearts up. I would appreciate that. Good. Dark says, I'm glad I caught you live. I'm glad you did as well. I appreciate it. 415G says, as an introvert like myself, you give great, straight to the point answers. So thank you. You are welcome, 415G. I have a guide that says, overcoming the fear of job interviews. There are 10 things that cause anxiety and people are stressed out. I tell you all of the tea. I give you all of the information in that guide, so you never have to stress out about an interview again. Now, as an introvert, a lot of times, and listen, a lot of people are that way. A lot of people are not extroverted like me. Like I never met a stranger. I can talk to a person almost about anything. I mean, I can't hang around everybody, but I can talk to almost anybody. I don't have that as an issue. And sometimes a person who is extroverted can seem like they're not engaging. So these straightforward, very direct answers, right, help you if you're if you're an introvert. So thank you so much for sharing that information. If you have a question, please please leave it in the comment. Chocolate Drop says, thank you for giving me the game. You are welcome, Chocolate Drop. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for your support. Many of you, when you purchase products in the store that help you to become better as candidates and remain in control of the process, you give tips, you know, $2, $10. And I've had people give me $50 and $100 tips. So thank you so much for supporting in that way as well. Again, if you want me to take a look at your resume, you can email it to me, CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com. I'll take a look at your resume. Within 24 hours, I'll tell you exactly what you need to change, if anything, okay, and what my suggestions are. And there are a lot of you who send me direct messages on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and I answer those questions back that way as well. So I am interacting with hundreds of people every single week. And I appreciate it. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys all of the game, all of the information that you need. Okay. CMD says, in this day and age, how can I reach out to a recruiter if I'm applying for a big company? How do I find them and contact them? Any advice is appreciated. Yeah. So let me explain to you kind of what the process looks like. Most big companies are going to have some sort of talent acquisition or HR department. I'm going to tell you the fastest way really to get to, especially if you interview, one of the fastest way to get to recruiter. So if you're trying to get to the recruiter initially, okay, LinkedIn is a great way to find out who the recruiter is, okay? Everybody shows their backside on LinkedIn, okay? So you go to that company and you're going to research on LinkedIn. You're going to go to LinkedIn, type in that company name, and you can type in that company name and recruiter, and it'll show you anybody that's a recruiter in that company. So you'll get that person's name, especially if they're local in your particular area. You can find out who the HR manager is, VP of HR, all of that good stuff, because it's right there on LinkedIn. I know nobody's telling you tricks. I'm telling you. If you want to find out who a recruiter is for ABC company, go to LinkedIn and type in ABC company. And then it'll tell you everybody that works at ABC company. And then in that search bar at the top, type in recruiter or talent acquisition. And everybody who has ever been a talent acquisition person or a recruiter or HR person at ABC company will show up, and you send them a direct message on LinkedIn. Hey, what's up? I sent you my information, and I want to make sure we have a conversation. Now, here's the question. Do recruiters like that? Yes. Why do recruiters like it? Because you are saving them time from having to go through a bunch of resumes for candidates who are not qualified. So I'm telling you, as a manager, as a guy who manages recruiting, okay, the faster we can get a great candidate in the door, the better. So if you tell me that you are a qualified candidate and I look at your resume and you just saved me hours. So yes, call that recruiter. Okay. All right. TSE Lamar says, or T-Star says, how can you be likable versus comfortable in an interview? Okay. So let me answer the question like this. Okay. Shameless plug. When you walk into an interview, right? And you know everything there is to know. You know all of the answers to the questions. You know the company. You know the problem you solve for the company. right? All of those things. That part is all taken care of. Now, and I encourage you, if you want to develop this skill, there are all kinds of tools that you can go. I mean, go to YouTube and you need to learn how to build rapport. Let me explain to you what I mean. I know you know what I mean, but let me explain to you what I mean. So if I walk into somebody's office and I see a little statue of a golfer, I'm going to be talking about golf because I love to play golf. Love it. That is building a rapport. Building a rapport simply means find something that is common between you and that hiring manager that you can talk about. People, listen to me, hiring managers, they're people as well, and they love talking about themselves. Girl, your hair is pretty. I like that shirt. My man, that golf shirt is awesome. I didn't know you played golf. What's your handicap? Oh, I see you have a Carnival Cruise pin. Build rapport. Find something common that you can talk about with that person, and that person will love you, fall in love with you. Okay? So you know everything there is to know about the company. You know how to solve the problem. Now you have talked to this person. You've developed something. You have common interest. It's game over. They're going to like you. Okay? That's what you need to do. LinkedIn is very overwhelming for me. Chocolate, I'll tell you. In fact, I might do an online training where I show you guys how to like crush LinkedIn, how to find anything you want on LinkedIn. I'll tell you guys a story one day, but I'm not going to do it today, about how I got a job in less than 3 minutes by showing a manager how I use LinkedIn and how their team is not currently using it. Okay. So I might do a training where I give you guys the opportunity to come and go through a whole training with me on that. Okay. Salva says, so I have a job offer tomorrow. I believe they will ask me the question, are you willing to relocate? What's the best way to answer that? Leave it in the comments to answer this question. Are you willing to relocate? And then once I see that answer, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Salva, are you willing to relocate? Sharp says, you love. Salva says, it's a job promotion. Okay. Are you willing to relocate? I need to know that. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to respond to it. Phil says, man, run this back when I'm not at work. My brother dropping gems. So Phil, check this out. For people who subscribe to my Instagram channel, it's $4.99 a month. This entire live is replayed as long as you want it to be. Okay. So subscribe on Instagram. Just click the subscribe button. It's $4.99 a month. You can get all of these lives in playback. Okay. All right. All right. So, Salva, you are willing to relocate. So this is good. You want to tell them, yes, this is how you do it. They're going to ask you, are you willing to relocate? You're going to respond like this. Yes, I am. When would you like for me to be in the new city? That's it. Okay. They're going to tell you, and then you're going to follow with this. Can you please explain the relocation package? Because that needs to be part of your offer. If you need me to repeat that, send me a DM. I'll tell you exactly what to say. Okay. So 187 says, will this live be uploaded in your post? Live replays on Instagram are only for subscribers. Okay. Only for subscribers. So if you want access to this live on Instagram, you have to be a subscriber. It's just $4.99. So I encourage you to do that. All of the live replays are there, and you can listen to this over and over again so you can get the job you want faster. That's what this is all about. Trying to give you guys major game. so you can be taken care of. 187 says thumbs up. Big thumbs up to you as well. Okay. Tat 360 says, when you are given the range per a job announcement or even in an interview, should you decide what amount to give them when asked? What would the maximum be an appropriate amount for the response? Nope. So I tell you how to do this now. Listen, guys, I tell you how to do this. Gracias, senor. Thank you so much, 187. I tell you how to do this. I'm telling you, make an investment. Get the guide. There are 2 guides you need to get. The best way to negotiate pay, number 1, and what you should know before you go. Get those guides. Okay. Now, what is what you should know before you go going to show you? It is going to tell you exactly where to go to find out what the pay range is for this job. And I told you this before. The bottom number in that pay range, let's say it's $20 to $30 an hour. That is for an entry-level person, 0 to 2 years. The top end of that pay range, $30 an hour, is for a senior level person, 10 years or more. The middle range, that's unlisted, $25 an hour, is for a middle experienced person, 5 to 7 years. Okay, so now that you know that, you say, where do I fall in that spectrum? Okay, do I have 10 years experience? Okay, then I'm going to ask them for $30 plus 10%, $33. Okay, $33 an hour. That's what I'm going to ask for. Okay, if you don't have 10 years experience, you got 5 years experience, ask for $25 plus 10% or $27.50. Because if you ask for 30, right, you're not qualified for 30. You don't have senior level experience. So that's how you make that determination. Okay? That's how you make that determination. I hope that answers your question. Justin Jean says, how do I ask for a pay increase, a salary increase, after just working for a company for 2 years? So let me explain to you. I've already shared this before, but I'll share it again. Pay equity inside an organization is important. It creates, thank you guys so much on TikTok for 2,000 hearts. I appreciate that. Pay equity inside an organization is a real thing. It's important. You don't want somebody who has 10 years experience making the same thing that somebody who has 3 years experience doing. A person who has 10 years experience should be making more than a person who has 3 years experience. So pay equity is important. Okay. So how do you know if you need to ask for a pay raise? We call it, in the talent acquisition HR world, a market adjustment, salary market adjustment, pay market adjustment, market pay adjustment, whatever you decide you want to do, however you decide you want to say it. But you are adjusting your pay to be in line with the market. How do you do that? You're going to go to, Google. You're going to go to glassdoor.com or indeed.com. You're going to type in your title and the number of years experience you have, and it'll spit out a number to you. It'll tell you the average range is this. And then you need to ask yourself, am I being paid fairly? I got 5 years experience. Average pay is 25. I'm making 25. I'm good. Don't ask for a pay adjustment. It ain't going to happen. Okay. If you find that you are below the market, then you should go to your manager and say, hey, this is the information that I have found out. I've done the research. I would like to have a market adjustment increase. And I tell people, you may not get a merit increase, if it's around the corner within 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, but you should get your salary adjusted, because companies are interested in pay equity. And if they care anything about their employees, they're going to make sure that you're being paid fairly. Okay. So that's that question. Somebody also asked, should we say negotiable instead of open? You can say negotiable, that's fine. But I like to be, we like it. Hiring managers and recruiters like it when candidates are pretty straightforward about pay, especially if it is in line with what the salary range is for that particular position. Okay, so listen, if you need help with your resume, I encourage you, if you're getting ready to go back into the job market, you're in the job market, but you're not getting interviews, and your resume looks raggedy. You're telling me how old I am by saying that. Your resume is not in tip-top shape. Email it to me, CoachDanielSmiley@gmail.com. 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 I will take a look at it, tell you exactly what's going on. The next thing is, if you need help, there's a couple of things. You got anxiety about interviews, overcoming the fear of job interviews, it's a guide you can get in my store. If you are preparing for an interview and you just don't know what to expect, and you want to be empowered, you want to be in control, go to my store, get the guide, what you should know before you go, okay? If you are in the interview phase and man, they're about to spit an offer out to you, get the guide, the best way to negotiate pay. If you have trouble in your interviews, like you are, like this guy who messages me says, you know, I keep getting to the finals, but I'm not being chosen after eight different jobs. There is a guide, how to never lose a job offer again. And what do I mean by that? I'm telling you, if you follow the steps in this guide, hiring managers will beg you. They will literally want to beg you, okay, to work for them. So go get that guide. If you need your resume reworked, the resume template is there. And if you need a one-on-one with me, I have a meeting coming up with the CEO. He's getting ready to meet with the board, and he wants to have some questions answered. I'll be happy to do that as well. 187 says, what if your resume is on Indeed? How can you transfer it over from Indeed? Okay, I'm going to say this and then I have to end the live. Number one, your Indeed job information is not a resume. It is only profile information, and people have been making this mistake for 20 plus years. Okay, when Monster.com was around in the late 90s and Career Builder came online, and then Indeed, I was around for all of them. And they allow you to upload that information, and you think that's a resume. It's not. So what you want to try to do is go to Indeed and see if it will allow you to download your profile information, copy and paste it in a Google Doc. Then take that copy and paste and print it as a PDF, and it'll be something that you can send to me, and then I'll take a look at it and I'll tell you what changes need to be made, okay? But you don't need Microsoft Word or anything. You can use Google Doc to do that. That's how you transfer that information, okay? I appreciate you guys, all the love. Stay tuned. I'm going to be answering your questions again. I get hundreds of questions and comments every single day. Hundreds. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys for the hearts. Thank you for the hearts so much, Neil. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the badge. Thank you guys so much for all that you're doing to support this content. I want to keep bringing it to you. I am not going to stop. I will listen to me. I'm not going to stop. I understand that people are trying to trick you, trip you up and make you think that you don't have control over this process. But I'm telling you, as a person who's been doing this 35 years, you do. You have the power. You have the control. Nobody just wants, they don't want you to believe that because they want to be in control of the process. But the bottom line is you have control over it. 187 says she'll be subscribing as soon as possible. Thank you so much. This live replay will be going up on Instagram right after I end this. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me. If you have any comments, leave it on the information that I'm sharing for free. I will see you guys on the next live. I appreciate you and love you so much. I really want you guys to have success in your life and win in every interview. And as I always say when I end, I will spend the rest of my life helping you get to the next level in yours. Take care, guys.